Hi everyone, this is SHWETA, your parent partner at Parent Station, and I'm very happy to be here today to share some wonderful learn with fun on the Parent Partner Show. So I have come here today to let you know something very interesting. As creative speaking and creative writing is one of the major talkabouts and do-abouts for parents, for students, for those who are into business or those who are studying or those who are applying for jobs, which is a very important skill these days, listening and speaking. So today I'm going to tell you something about creative writing and creative speaking. And yes, of course, we will talk about some parenting humor. That is it fun to be a parent? What funny times do we share with our children? So let me know some funny times you have had with your children, and I will tell you something that I have had with my own. So let's begin with something like creative writing. Today, I will not only talk to you as the parent partner at Parent Station, but I'll also talk to you as a parent. I will talk to you as a teacher trainer and also a storyteller. So, during my profession, I've come across many parents who always say that, how should I teach my child how to write better? How should I teach my child how to speak better? So, let us have some few tips as in how should we guide our children into this beautiful topic of creative writing and speaking. So today I will tell you that there are some major things that you need to take care of when you are writing on a creative content or when you are speaking on a creative content. Now, first of all, let us find out what is actually called creative speaking or creative writing. It is either writing or speaking on a very creative content that can be either poetry, it can be something like a story. It can be articles. It can be narratives. It can be a social media post, or it can be something like a comprehension or an essay. So, when you're writing these different creative contents, what you could do is you should highlight certain things that could make your content more better to hear about or better to read about, either by your audience or anybody who has asked you to do the task. So, in creative speaking, what does a person, how does it help a person? It helps you grow as a individual. It improves your confidence levels, it shapes your personality, it helps you stand out as an individual if you can talk nicely or you can present a good creative content. And if you are having a good creative topic to speak about, you will have self-expression. You will be able to put out your ideas into public in a very better way. And there is one important thing. It will help you to grow socially and individually. So we are helping children to develop their individuality through creative writing and creative speaking. You will see millions of courses that are available online these days to improve English speaking or the phonetic pronunciation of any kind of content, like parents are like question mark, should we enroll our child for this course or that course? There are so many courses available on White Hat Junior. There are so many online courses if you go and search on the net. But today I'm going to tell you how this can be mastered even at home or by taking few very good classes. So I will first tell you that when you are presenting a creative topic content, that is when a content to be spoken is given, the topic is either given by a teacher or by an institute or either you are speaking out on your own. So in these cases, there are four things you need to take care about. So the first thing is that you should choose your subject very carefully. If the topic has been pre-given to you, it's not a major of an issue. But if you are to choose from a content, how will you choose what should you speak on or what should you write on? So choose your subject very carefully. For that, you will either have to be a pro in the subject that you are going to talk about or write about, or you should have done your research. That is, you should have a research background. As a parent, you can do research for your child or you can guide your child as into where to find the similar content through a book, through an online material, through someone who could talk about the topic, or by reading similar books related to the content that you're going to speak or write on. So research background is very essential. If you're writing the essay, or if you're going to write your story, or you're going to write about the novel, or you're going to put your social media post, or you're going to do a general write-up, on a blog of your own, or any kind of a debate content, or any kind of a spoken content that you're speaking on your own. Suppose you have chosen your own topic, you cannot speak or write on it unless you do your research on it. So please do your research. Now we will come to doing research by either talking to experts, by thinking in the similar pattern, by reading content available on net, or writing down the thoughts that are pre-existing in your mind related to the topic, or then self-deciding through a group discussion with like-minded people. You can help your children with a semi-pre-prepared content, and then you can ask your child to either choose on the topics or the subtopics or the pointers that you have given, and let them prepare themselves. Now, the next thing that will come is you have to plan. How will you speak your content without planning what you're going to say or what you're going to write? So, how do you plan? So, in planning comes how, when, what, and where. So, when you're going to write or speak on a particular content, you have to think, how am I going to write about it? What am I going to write about? And what I want to portray in my content. About what am I going to write? So where am I going to collect that content from? So after you have charted out all this, how, when, where, and what, you start putting down your pointers and plan and execute. So this is how you will build up a content. And that comes to the writing part. How will you speak without writing down your pointers? So when you're going to speak on a content, when I'm speaking to you just now, I have to have done my homework. I would have to chart out. I would have to make my pointers about what I'm going to talk about. And then you present your content. And when you creatively speak, it is very important how you speak. What is your voice modulation? How confident you are? What are your facial expressions? What is your body posture? How are you presenting yourself before the audience? You should not have a stage fright. You should be very calm and composed, and you have charted down your points which go through when you are speaking so that you do not miss out something. In case you miss out anything while speaking, don't flumber. You have to come back to your point gradually and let it be like a flow. It has to be very casual. It cannot be with speed breakers. Otherwise, people come out that you have not practiced well. So that is about creative speaking. Now, my favorite part. How do you creatively write something? How do you prepare a creative writing content? So I'm going to give you a few tips about it. So first of all, writing is a very, very important skill which is required by students, by teachers, by employees of corporate or private institutions. It is also required by public speakers. It is required by trainers. It is required by people working in an organization. If you are not able to speak well, how will you convey your thoughts, or how will you convince people, or how will you prove your point, or how are you going to make a mark? Or these days there are so many YouTube videos going on, so many blog write-ups, and so many Instagram reels. So a powerful content is very important. So first of all, for creative writing, the first thing that would come into place would be, what is your genre of writing? What is genre? Is it a narrative that you're going to write? Is it a letter? Is it a story? Is it a mail? Is it a message? Is it an article? Or is it a note? Or is it a story? Then what kind of a story? A horror story? A comic story? Or is it a adventure story? Or are you writing about a current situation? Or you are writing an essay? What is your genre? Then comes the second part, is What is your audience? Means if you're a student or if it is a child, what is it? For whom is the child writing for? Is it for the teacher? Is it for a competition which will be reviewed by a set of experts? Is it a teacher who is writing a content to convey to a higher upline like that admins? Or is it a staff that you are writing a note for everyone to read? Or is it a social media post that everybody is going to view? Like, is it for public? So I'm talking to a general content where when someone is writing creatively, whom are you writing it for? So when you understand that I'm going to write for children, you use that similar kind of words and sentences. If you're writing it for experts, you use that kind of vocab or sentences. And if you're writing it for general public, then what does public like? So you have to present a content for writing which can be appreciated by the viewers or the people who are going to read it or see it or hear it. Then that is audience. So in that, you have to understand why you're going to write. Is it for an exam? If it's a child writing for an exam, is this child writing it for an homework? Or is this child writing it for recognition within a group of students? Or are you writing it for money? Means you're writing a blog or you're writing an article for a newspaper or you are writing a novel? Is it for earning money? Or is it that you love to write and you're writing for entertainment? And then, is it a social media post? So, why are you writing your content? And how? And what would be your tone? How are you going to write your content? And what would be the tone of communication? Will your language be bitter? Will your language be very friendly, very funny, humorous, or sarcastic? Or will it be very point blank, very upfront? Or will it be very convincing? So that is coming to the part that what will be the tone of write up. If you write something, that is the way you're going to speak it. So that is the way you write it, that is how your expressions when you're talking will be. So are you going to be funny? Are you going to be wry? Are you going to be dry? That is your choice. Depending upon the content that you're going to write, or maybe you are asking your child to prepare a content. So first, make the child understand that what is your audience, what will be your purpose, and what will be your tone of writing or speaking. So two things. What is the genre? According to the genre, you will then decide what you're going to write, and then what is your audience, the purpose, and the tone. And then comes planning. After you have decided what kind of content you want to write or speak, you will plan the ideation. So how I'm going to plot my whole content. So how is the child going to speak or make the inner content? What is the strategy? What kind of sentences? What kind of vocabulary? How much content? How many paragraphs? What is my main idea? What is my secondary idea? All this will be jotted down on a piece of paper before writing. If you just start writing suddenly, getting excited about the topic, you will end up abruptly, or maybe you will write few lines and then you will become dry and you will just be point blank. You don't know what to write more. That's what actually happens to children when they're writing essays or comprehensions or when they're speaking on stage, because they've mugged up a content. But when they understand the content they're going to deliver, if they understand, they know how it is going about, then there will be no glitches while speaking or writing. Teach your children to organize the points or the ideas that have been planned on a piece of paper before writing. Don't be random. Jot down your points. What will come first, second, third? How will you end? What will be the conclusion? How will you sum it up totally at the end? Then you have to know the success criteria. We tell children, write down this essay, write down this comprehension, write the story, speak the story, narrate this thing. But do we give them a success criteria? If you do really well, this is what you will be like. This is how it's going to be. This is what you are going to be presented as the best speaker, or this is what you're going to get. I'm going to give you a golden star. So that is kind of a motivation. So you should know your success criteria. If a student is writing on a content in an exam, the child knows that I have a say with the 10 marks. And if I'm going to write really well, I'm going to get 10 on 10. So when you are asking your child to write about something, give that ideology that you have to write really well. You have to make this very interesting, and you have to make it very, very nice so that the opposite person who is listening to it or who is reading your content is going to really appreciate what you have done. So just don't do it for doing. So that is how you motivate the child or the person who is doing it or yourself. And then you should know your success criteria, which is based on a very important thing which is known as show, don't tell. That is the secret. Means when you are explaining a content or even you're talking about a content, then you have to really engross the audience or the reader into whatever you are saying or what you're going to present on the piece of paper. So if I'm talking about, for example, my experience that I'm jotting it down in a novel or an article, the trip to the Himalayas. So, if I'm talking about mountains, I'm talking about my experience. But the people who are reading or listening to me do not have that kind of a visual of what I have seen. So, I'm going to talk about mountains, which is like I have been through a wonderful range of mountains which were snow capped, they were looming and they were huge and they were coming up to me and they were filled up with great pine trees. So I'm creating an environment and trying to engross my readers or those who are listening to me by creating the real visualization. So that is show, don't tell. So, if I'm an environmentalist, I'm going to present the topic in that particular way. If I'm writing about the underwater sea life, then I'm going to present the whole scenario using those kind of words and that kind of an atmosphere I'm going to create so that the people get engrossed into whatever I am presenting through reading or writing. So, that is show, don't tell. Then comes an impactful start. Whenever you are writing something, it is very important how you begin your content. How do you begin whatever you are writing? Suppose if I'm writing a story, I'm talking about a small child. Anybody who starts to write a story, if I begin with, like I'm writing about, say, a forest and animals. So if I'm going to start that I saw a bear and I was scared. But instead of that, if I use a very common phrase, once upon a time, I chanced to pass by a forest, and through the window, I saw a large, fluffy brown bear. So I'm adding so many adjectives and adverbs. I'm adding so much of weightage by using descriptive words so that I make my beginning so enchanting that people want to read more or listen to it more. So just by adding once upon a time, it's a very common phrase for stories, but yes, it always has its impact. So how do you begin your content is very important. You can begin a creative speaking content by a statement, by a proverb, by an incident or a story, or you can use a very nice vocabulary to begin with. So this is one. Then comes the tense consistency. Means present tense, past tense, future tense. What kind of a tense are you writing the whole content in? Are you writing about a current scenario? Are you writing in the past? I had gone to Shimla and I saw snow-capped mountains and it has put an imprint on my mind. So I'm talking about past. So when I'm writing a content or when children are writing a content, teach them to be following a tense consistency, not fluctuating into present, past, and future. If it is, then it has to be very guided. Then, taking care of the tense consistency, we come upon Using long and short sentences means you should use your write-up content in which there are short sentences and long sentences. Your content has to be broken up into paragraphs, and there has to be a kind of a flow. You cannot be very abrupt. You just can't end abruptly and begin abruptly. It has to be a very gradual flow. You have to use one word substitutes. Means if I'm talking about, suppose say a fairy tale, then if I'm talking about the boy looked up at the castle and in the balcony he saw a very beautiful girl. She had long hair, and I'm going to enlarge and keep the content going on and on and on. But the audience is not so free to listen to everything or read everything that you are going to keep on writing. It has to be very grasping. It has to be very interesting. So I can use one word substitutes. She was extremely beautiful. She was overwhelmingly beautiful. She was extraordinarily beautiful. So I'm trying to create weightage by using some kind of a one word substitute. Teach children to use one word substitutes. It will differ by the age. As a parent or a teacher, you can guide them accordingly. So again, you can use the show, don't tell technique, which is magical always. Then comes a very important thing, the GPPS check. That is G for grammar, P for punctuation, paragraphing, P again, and S for spelling. When the content is written, it is very important how you use your grammar, how you use your punctuation. If you're speaking, do you pause at the commas or do you pause at the full stops? Do you give your full power when you're beginning with the sentence? Do you use voice modulation according to the punctuations? Have you used paragraphing to break down the content as it is specified so the reader can understand where you are trying to break a point or make a point? And spellings, of course, which will only come by practice. So spellings can be practiced with phonics. It can be mastered by spell breaking the word into different parts, by repetition. And of course, paragraphing is a skill which can be practiced only by doing writing, if you do it. So GPPS, grammar, punctuation, paragraphing, and spelling. After that comes self-correction. After you have written down the content, or if the child has written down the content, teach the child to self-correct or self-edit or proofread. Means read it out to an elder, read it out to a sibling, read it out to an expert, and ask them to pick out certain things which can be made better, which you have made errors, not making the child feel that they have done a mistake, but yes, rectifying and helping the child to make the content better before presenting it. That is not possible in case of exams. Someone cannot do it for you. So self-read, self-check. Check your spellings, check your paragraphs, check your punctuations, check, repetition of words or, missing out a sentence. Ask the child to be self-committed to present excellent content. And if you yourself are a trainer or a speaker and you're going to speak on a content, it's very important you stand in front of a mirror and practice your content, or maybe do a self-video to analyze what mistakes you are doing, or maybe do it even better. Because when you're speaking out a content, it's very important how you deliver it, what is your pace of voice, like pace between two words and sentences. Are you too fast, too slow, or are you audible enough? Everything counts. So for creative speaking comes in creative writing. And for creative writing, I'm going to again summarize the points. That is, number one, you have to go through the genre, decide the genre of writing. Then, whom are you writing it for? The purpose, tone, and the purpose of writing and the tone of writing. What kind of content? How are you going to present your content? Planning, ideation, planning down, jotting down by points what you are going to write or speak. And Choosing vocabulary which is very targeted as per the topic. So if you're doing a content which is based on a social issue, you will read a newspaper, use good words, use a dictionary, use a net to find similar words, better words to make your content more powerful. And if you're writing something about a fairy tale, then you have to use imaginatory kind of relative words and targeted vocabulary. That is another very vast topic which you cannot discuss just now, but yes, use good vocabulary. Organize your ideas, be planned, don't be random, and know your success criteria. If you're going to write, are you going to write okay? Are you going to write really nice? Or are you going to write something to impress someone? So be very determined and use the technique show, don't tell. I know what you know. Do you know what it means now? I guess so. Make an impactful start. Keep tense consistency. No fluctuating between tenses, present, past, future. Use language enhancers like once upon a time to make your beginning even more enchanting. Use adjectives, adverbs to make your content more readable or hearable. And now I come to points which you need to take care when you are speaking. So when you are speaking, your content has to be very powerful. So you have to choose your subject, which will be very interesting to hear about. Then you have to research your background. Suppose you're writing an essay or a story or a novel, read a related content so that you can imagine even better or speak even better. Then you can talk to experts, think, write your thoughts aloud, and decide what you actually want to put down in your content. Then plan how, when, where, what, add content accordingly, and then finally write down. After writing down whatever you have chosen about, you will go about creating a scenario. Use fun elements, use very enjoying sentences, and don't make it very serious. The body or the plot has to have an idea. How are you going to present? What are you going to present? And make it a very gradual flow. Use transitions, means ask the child to use words like yet, but, and also, and although. And these transition words will help you keep continuity within sentences. I was very tired, but I was very determined. So you are creating a continuity in a very gradual flow by using transitions. And you have to showcase one idea in each paragraph. It cannot be very monotonous. The content has to be very creative, very gradual, and very distinctive. There has to be one particular idea in every content that you are writing in every paragraph so that it is crisp and nice to read or listen to. Then comes the conclusion or the ending, which is very important. You can use a statement, you can use a repetition, you can use like make it as a cliffhanger ending or a happy ending or let's do this, like you take the whole audience together. Okay, let's do this. Are you ready to do this? So that is what. So it's a very elaborate topic. Again, how to end a topic. And finally, the most important thing is you have to check whatever you're going to speak or write. Don't be unprepared and don't make blunders by just writing down without planning. So this was about what I had to tell you about creative writing and speaking. This can be mastered by attending special classes, storytelling classes for children, and we do creative writing and speaking classes. You can contact us. And now coming to parenting humor, a lot of serious talks, but yes, on Parent Station, your partner SHWETA SHAH, that is me, I'm going to share a few humorous moments that you usually have with the children, like the day-to-day happenings. Now, there is once when my child asked me, Mom, you always post about you being good in English and writing and speaking. Do you really know certain spellings that I'm going to ask you? And he asked me, tell me the spelling of parenting. So guess what? Should I have answered? I answered Patince. Yeah, it is actually Parenting, but parenting equals to patience. So that is what the spelling for parenting is. So that is little humorous. Humor in uniform, I guess. So what do you think parenting is? Please write down in the comments in the video. Please like the video. Please share this video if you have liked it with people who can relate to creative writing and speaking. People who are parents, your relatives, your friends. Spread a word from Parent Station and get back to me if any query. Put down your questions. Okay, there's another one funny one. There's the situation where there is a child and there's a teacher in the boarding school. So the teacher is showing the children around the environment, the clouds and the atmosphere. So the teacher is asking the child, what is in this clouds, child? Guess, what is in this clouds? So the techno-savvy kids, like who are geeks with, mobiles and laptops and tablets, what would he have answered? Music files. Clouding, computer clouding, music files. Yeah, that is funny, right? So actually, the teacher would have expected water in the clouds or some imaginary answer, but the kid said music files. That's a pretty intelligent answer, right? And there's a third one which I'm going to give you. In the class, the teacher said, we're going to have a fun fair carnival and children have to put up stalls. So, Millie, what are you going to put up a stall for? So the teacher would have expected muffins or a craft art stall or something. But the kids said it would either be a selfie training stall or make a reel stall. Funny, right? So this kids these days, Instagram reels is a big thing. So there are so many creative things people are doing all around the world. So this is what children are about. They are about modernization, they're about technology, children are about bringing creativity into education. You cannot be so monotonous all the time. You have to bring out relative content which they understand, which they find interesting. So as parents, you have to grow up to them, not children growing up to you. You have to grow up to your children, be like how they want you, how they can relate to you, how can they understand you. Yes, it is science, the science of parenting. We are going to have a session about this, the next parent partners show, the science of parenting, and it's going to be a very interesting thing which you can relate as a parent. So put down what topics you want us to speak on. This is SHWETA SHAH, your parent partner from Parent Station, and we are a huge family of experts, and we bring in toy reviews, book reviews, expert talks, Ubarta Sitara. We have a lot of, wonderful things happening on Parent Station. Please watch, please share, please like. Thank you so much, and have a great, great week.